Internet. Yes. Not internet, but since the internet is the real concrete manifestation of internet. Like even when we're on a Zoom call, like every other person is on a computer. The image of every person in the Zoom call is in our computer, and we are in the Zoom window of every other person on that call. Okay, I see somebody also on line Twin.
I don't
Do I have the right pronunciation?
Kwan, like how it's spelled.
One.
Yes. Um, uh,
Yeah, the voice is very faint.
come again. Oh, my voice is faint. Is this better?
Oh, okay, that's much
Okay.
better.
My question is not relevant to the talk today, but it is something I had in mind. So, what I learned about the future Buddha Maitreya in Mahayana, what I learned that he is the laughing Buddha, or the laughing, the current laughing Buddha is the future Maitreya. What does Theravada say about the future Maitreya? Is he the laughing Buddha to be Maitreya?
Okay, okay. There's a sutta in the Digha Nikaya which mentions the Pali pronunciation is Maitreya, which is the equivalent of Sanskrit Maitreya, which mentions Maitreya as the next Buddha, the Buddha to come in the future. But the idea of Maitreya as the laughing Buddha is a development in Chinese Buddhism. Please correct me if I'm wrong, but I think this is the origin of this idea that there was a monk, maybe in the Tang Dynasty, who had a big belly and was always laughing and going around. He carried a big bag on his back filled with toys and candy. And whenever children would come to him, he would drop the bag and open the bag and give them toys and candy. And everybody, all the other monks in the monasteries thought he was a madman, a mad monk, didn't give him a place to stay, ridiculed him, mocked him. But then he performed some miracle and vanished, and then they got the idea. That was actually a kind of, what do you call this, a washan? That's the transformation body. Wa- Washan, 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 washan. The manifestation body of the Bodhisattva Maitreya. And so that's how in Chinese Buddhism, Maitreya comes to be depicted as that big-bellied, laughing Buddha. But we don't find that even in Korean Buddhism, or I don't think even in Japanese Buddhism. I think it's something, or any Vietnamese people here? No, you don't know. I don't think you find that in Vietnamese Buddhism either. I think it's just something unique to Chinese Buddhism. Yeah, please.
Bhikkhu Bodhi, I just want to thank you so much for your voice and everything you shared today. I am so grateful for your work.
Yeah.
That you go into details about all these people, really and your example is so helpful.
Oh, thank you.
Because I don't hear aversion, I don't hear hatred. You're how do you do that? That's how to do it. And what you're showing is how to navigate these things. So I just wish I hope you have all the metta to support your strength, and what you're doing is so important for humanity. I'm so grateful.
Thank you. Thank you.
It's just that your voice in this is
Yeah, I think it's important for us monastics to speak up, I have to say. Yeah, it's not that we don't want to get involved with what I call partisan politics, stumping for political candidates. So I speak up on policies, um, like in my editorial essays for the PGR newsletter, like I criticize particularly that one big beautiful bill for its impact because Buddhist Global Relief, sort of our mission is to address chronic hunger and malnutrition, and that one big ugly bill is reducing drastic cuts to the to the SNAP program, which is providing food assistance to needy families.
Went through a lot, so much.
Yeah, and then somebody wrote, one of the subscribers to the newsletter wrote to Buddhist Global Relief contact address saying that, sort of addressing it to me, your editorial essay showed so much hate and anger. But no, it was not, there was no hatred or anger in it. It's just saying that this is going to have such harmful impacts on people. Even for many people, it's a matter of life and death, cutting especially the healthcare. So millions of people are losing access to healthcare. Yeah.
Failure care for humanity.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
so heartwarming and
Yeah.
to see a leader like you share it. It's very, we need people to learn how to embody the Buddhist teachings, and you're embodying it. And that's so important to come across teachers like you and that have that love for others. So thank you.
Oh, thank you.
Thank you.
Okay, I have a question or a doubt that we know that we have to bridge between Christian two schools, between,
If you have a little closer.
do I go further? Okay, here. I was wondering about Bonte's voice, okay, when we know that we have to bridge between cushion to street.
We have to bridge.
Cushion, sitting on the
Oh,
meditation.
question, I see.
And between the solitude to social justice, we know that, okay? But we also see the ice agent, where ice agent, okay,
Ice agents, yeah,
are violating the non-harm, separating the family.
yeah,
They are also doing the violating the freedom of speech.
yeah,
Lots of those examples.
Yeah.
We know that for sure. Okay. And Bhante reminded us that a vision is important.
yeah,
A policy is important.
Yeah.
A politician like Bernie Sanders is sufficient to guide the vision. But do Bhante feel hopeless or helpless sometimes that we're facing this chaotic condition?
Yeah.
And we are in this sustaining world and we don't know what to do
yeah,
besides voting.
yeah, that is the big problem, yeah. And this is where people living in the world maybe will have better ideas than I do, because I'm sort of not involved in political organizing, but there are like organizations where they're trying to bring people together to sort of mobilize and promote changes in policies. Some of the organizations, one is called Indivisible, and they have many, many chapters. You could just probably do a Google search for Indivisible. So they bring people together to, to mobilize for changes in policies. Another is called, I think it's entirely online, moveon.org.
No, I have a question after you finish.
Maybe other people have access to more sources of information, but it's important to get access to the information through reason. And this is another problem, big problem, which I didn't mention amongst these challenges, but a big problem now is I guess you call it the concentration of news sources, of news platforms, are the big conglomerates, which are now sort of controlled again by these billionaires, multi-billionaires. So you have the Rupert Murdoch news conglomerate, which controls, and that's been extremely damaging to the whole American political system, the Fox News, which came, I mean, when I was in my sort of early mature years, early 20s, everybody was watching Walter Cronkite, and that was Channel 2 was Walter Cronkite, Channel 4 was,
Morocco.
that came a little bit later. Forgot the name. That is 1966, 67. Yeah, Tom Brokaw came a little bit later, maybe 1980s he came. Yeah, I forgot the names. And then it was PBS, the News Hour, which is fairly reliable. But somehow the Fox News networks rose up, became sort of the dominant news source for probably the majority of American people.
How do you see peace walk? Any impact? Do you see any impact from the peace walk for those monks? They walk
Impact on,
as a whole.
well, it had at least the thing that impressed me very much was that they were walking through the southern states, and you would think that I could imagine if I were as a Buddhist monk walking through the southern states in the 1980s and 1990s, I would have been putting my life at risk. But I was really just so astounded to see people from all walks of life, all races, backgrounds coming out, saluting them, providing them offerings, coming when they, after the lunch break, when they would give a little discourse after the lunch, and then giving the evening discourse, people coming and listening. I think it had a really, in its own way, a very transformative impact on people's minds. But they deliberately didn't want to promote, I thought this was wise of them, not to try to promote a political message, even in a subtle way. First of all, because there were, I think, 20 monks on the walk, and I looked at the origins, and 11 of them were not US residents. I think 9 were from Thailand. Yeah, they're not even, I mean, they were in the country legally, probably just on tourist visas, maybe. Or maybe it has to be longer because they did a 3-month walk. I don't know what kind of visa they had, but their home bases in 9 home bases in Thailand, 2 were from Vietnam, and so that's 11. The other 9 are resident in the US, but are of Vietnamese, Lao, and Thai, and maybe 1 Burmese monk origin. And so it's a bit like risky and then they wanted to use the walk to promote the idea of to encourage people to develop mindfulness in their everyday life. But I think when people get the message of peace, yeah, I remember Venerable Panyakara mentioned, I think, 5 guiding ideals of the walk for peace. He said, love, kindness, compassion, harmony, and mindfulness, maybe. So promoting those ideals then will have an impact on people.
The starting point.
Yeah, so these work as sort of at a very grassroots level, teaching, changing people's ways of thinking and relating to their own lives, relating to their maybe neighbors with whom maybe they had no connection before, but now they do. The one big sort of irritation during that War for Peace, if you probably would have seen it, there were these fundamentalists, evangelical Christians that encountered them, I think, starting either in South Carolina, in Georgia, or South Carolina, maybe in Georgia, preaching, Jesus is the only way. You have to follow. I love you, but I'm sorry to say, if you're following a false God, a false religion, you have to accept Jesus as your personal savior. If you don't do this, you're going to hell. And they followed the walk-in monks even up to Washington when we were at the National Cathedral outside the Washington Cathedral. About Panyakara, he was giving a talk outside the cathedral. And I could hear outside across the street, they were there with the loudspeaker. Jesus is the only way. You have to accept.
The monks were here.
Yeah, I saw the video. Yeah, of Panyakara giving the talk. Yeah, that was terrible. Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
Here, it's not really it's not really a question, it's a thought, but open to feedback on this thought. Okay, so one thought is if everything happens for a reason, because in Buddhism we're supposed to believe that it's karma, everything happened for a reason,
Yeah.
but we just don't see it.
Yeah.
So isn't our president there for a reason that at some point in past life he has amassed so much blessings that could be where he is today, but we just don't know.
Yeah.
So, but that's a thought. I just don't know how to wrestle with it. And that he's basically wasting his blessings.
Yeah. When we say that, yeah.
Like, I don't know what to do with the thought because I feel like
Yeah, but I tried, we don't know what kind of karmic forces are operating in the background. So we just can't base our decisions on assumptions about what kind of karmic forces might lie in the distant background. So we have to say that leaders today have to promote the well-being of the citizens, of the people in the country in which they are administering. And we as citizens have to work to bring into positions of power people that have a strong moral fiber to their being and who are going to act in accordance with ethical principles and to promote the well-being and happiness of the citizens, people committed to virtue, righteousness, justice, and to fair social policies and sane environmental policies. And the real insanity is when there's such overwhelming scientific consensus on the dangerous consequences of continuing on the trajectory of promoting carbon-based fuels, sources of energy. And we have a president who at the UN General Assembly in last September says this idea of climate change is just the greatest hoax being inflicted on humanity. We have to develop our resources of fossil fuels. We need more fossil fuel energy. So if you don't accept scientific truths as the basis for your administration, then you're in trouble. And not only for a short term, it's something that, won't be, you can't transform it just by bringing a new administration into power because the increasing level of carbon emissions, carbon in the atmosphere, the consequences are going to last for centuries.
You gave a really good parallel about, you gave a really good parallel about how in the previous times of Buddha, right, there were the kingdoms, and then what was the right way the kings, the Chakravartis used to, how they got the wisdom.
Yeah.
But my question here is, what we are facing today is not something that has not happened in humanity before.
What?
What we are facing today in our country
Yeah,
is
yeah.
not something that has not happened before in humanity, right? So just like from the times of Buddha,
Yeah.
do you have any insights, on how the general public, like us, fought back? What did they do and how they were successful? Because I think you have a really great message and you're really trying to inspire us. But I think I at least am lost at what should I do next?
Yeah.
Because I really want this to change, but I feel so powerless.
Yeah.
Because democracy gives you like they say, the government you deserve because the people voted for you.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah.
and the people will vote again. So, how do I, even if this is so wrong,
Okay.
how
I mean,
do you do this?
what I say is that one has to come into association with groups of people who are dedicated to a common cause, common mission. And there are organizations out there that have that particular mission. I mentioned just do the search on the internet for Indivisible or moveon.org. Trying to think of a few of the others.
I mean, say it.
Say again? Somebody said something on. And I think if you connect with Indivisible, probably they are related to bunches of other organizations that have the same mission. There used to be something called Public Citizen is another one. This was originally established, of Ralph Nader? So he established that back maybe in the 1970s, 1980s.
In the Bay Area, we can't both be unmuted, Lynn. There's something called the Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity, and it's a bunch of different faith traditions. It's totally peaceful, and they're doing work for immigration, helping with immigrants, and also about stopping the arms embargo and stuff to Israel. So it's very beautiful, and you can be involved in a lot of different ways, and they'll connect with faith communities and help like to support local take on an immigrant who's arriving and the family and help with resources. So I put it in the chat if people want to see it, and it's very beautiful. Yeah, go ahead, Lynn.
There's Buddhist voices in it, and Muslim voices, and Christian voices, and Jewish voices. That's really quite beautiful.
Okay, so I see it. It's called Interfaith Movement for Human Integrity.
Mm-hmm.
It's in the
And
chat.
it's in the East Bay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah, so I'm sure if you search, you find it. Okay, I think we have to end because tomorrow early morning, I without my wings. Okay, so let us do a sharing of the merits. So we'll share the merit with one thing, this is very important actually, to share the merits with the Dharma protecting devas, because they are behind the pulling strings behind the scenes. So, we might not see them, but they are there. If enough virtuous people share merits with them, they'll help us. Akasata chabumata deva naga mahidika punyanta manamoditva chirangra kantu sasanam. Akasata chabumata Devanaga Mahidika Panyantam Manumoditva Chirang Rakantu Desanam Akasata Chabumata Devanaga Mahidika Panyantam Manumoditva Chirang Rakantu Imang Lokam Dukha Patachani Dukha Baya Patachani Baya Soka Patachani Soka Unto Sabe Pipanino. May those in suffering be free from suffering. May those in fear be free from fear. May those in sorrow be free from sorrow. May all living beings also be thus. And then there's another verse that we always used to recite in Sri Lanka, may be relevant. I'll recite it and then translate it. Devo vasatu kalena sasa sampati hotu cha pito bhavatu loko cha raja bhavatu damiko. So Devo vasatu kalena, may the sky send down timely rain. Sasa sampati hotu cha, may there be sort of successful harvest, abundant harvest. Pito bhavatu loko, may the world be prosperous. And then the last one is Raja bhavatu damiko. From ancient times, may the king be damiko, one who rules in accordance with Dhamma. So today, may the government be damiko, administering the country in accordance with Dhamma. Okay. Okay, so thank you everybody.
That you
Yeah,
said
we could do like,
taking care of us.
we could do sort of like half bows from the sitting position. Okay, so we do one bow, second bow, third bow.
Let us bow to
Okay, okay, okay.
Thank you, Bhante.
Okay.
Thank you,
Thank you,
Bante.
Bhante.
Okay.